Wait, did you feel that? That quiet moment, when a song you thought you'd moved on from suddenly pulls you back, as if it's whispering, "You're not done feeling me yet." That's what happened this week. Because out of nowhere, Jimin's Be Mine just hit 300 million streams on Spotify. 300 million. And he's not even here to see it. You know what's crazy? It's been 444 days since Be Mine was released as part of Jimin's second solo album, Muse. 444 days. A number that feels almost symbolic. Like something divine was quietly counting the days until this moment. When Be Mine came out, it wasn't just a song. It was a feeling. It was the sound of falling in love slowly, with someone's voice, with their softness, with the way a single lyric can hold your heart still. And now, even while Jimin is away doing his military service, that same song, that same emotion, just refused to fade. It grew. It lived. And now, it's thriving. Imagine that. You're not promoting, you're not performing, you're just gone from the spotlight. But people all around the world are still pressing play, again and again and again. That's not luck. That's love. And Be Mine isn't just standing alone. It's now Jimin's third song to reach that 300 million mark, after Who and Closer Than This. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. This milestone makes it Jimin's 7th solo song to pass 300 million streams. 7 songs, 7 different worlds, 7 emotions that millions of people found themselves in. Let's talk about those songs for a second, because each one tells a piece of his story. Who, the record breaker. Over 2.038 billion streams, the first and only Asian solo track without a collab to do it. It's Jimin's signature of independence, proving his voice alone can fill any stadium, any silence. Like Crazy, the one that made history, the first Korean solo track ever to reach #1 on Billboard's Hot 100. It now has 1.395 billion streams, almost 1.4 billion hearts that fell for the same melody. Set Me Free, Teen 2, 437 million streams. It was his declaration of liberation, raw and unfiltered. With You, 311 million streams. A soft, aching ballad that felt like a goodbye and a promise at the same time. Closer Than This, written for fans, released during his enlistment, already beyond 300 million. That song was his letter to us, and we never stopped reading it. And now, Be Mine joins that circle. The quiet one, the tender one, the song that doesn't shout for attention but somehow gets it anyway. But wait, even before Jimin's solo era began, his BTS songs still shine like constellations in his legacy. Filter is about to hit 500 million streams. Serendipity, full-length edition, crossed 311 million. Think about that. Those songs came out years ago, yet every day, someone somewhere is discovering them for the first time. Jimin's voice has become timeless. What gets me is this. When you listen to Be Mine, it doesn't explode with beats or grand notes. It whispers. It lingers. It wraps around you slowly, like a soft hug after a long day. You don't realize how much it's comforting you until it's already part of your breath. That's Jimin's power. He doesn't just sing, he connects. His voice doesn't ask for your attention, it earns your trust. And honestly, that's why this 300 million means more than just a number. It's proof that Jimin doesn't need to be online, on stage, or on screen to be felt, because his art has a heartbeat of its own. When the world goes quiet, his songs become louder inside you. And maybe that's why we keep listening, because somehow every lyric he left behind still feels like a message. Even if I'm not there, I'm still with you. So when Be Mine crossed that milestone, it wasn't just about streams, it was about loyalty. It was about the connection between an artist and the people who truly see him. 444 days later, the song that began as a whisper has turned into an echo that won't stop. And it reminds us, distance doesn't fade love, it deepens it. So Jimin is right now, maybe training, maybe resting, maybe thinking about his next song. I hope he knows that Be Mine didn't just reach 300 million, it reached us. Every heart that needed it, every night it played softly in someone's headphones, every tear it caught before it fell. Be Mine instrumental rises softly. Jimin once said that music is his way of saying the things he can't put into words. Well, Be Mine said them for him, because even in silence, his voice found a way to speak again. And this time, the whole world listened.